They thought they could walk all over us just because we were quiet, just because we smiled and minded our own business. But what they didn't know was that I was watching, remembering, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I'm Vanessa, 32 years old, and this happened just a few weeks ago in a resto bar tucked in a buzzing corner of Quezon City. It was one of those gritty little spots you don't plan on going to. You just end up there after a long day at work. My girls and I, we weren't dressed to impress. We were just looking for good vibes, cheap drinks, and maybe a little loud music to drown out our weekday blues. We landed ourselves a high table, the kind that came with those wobbly bar stools, and immediately started chatting away, the stress of the day slowly melting off our shoulders. One of my friends, Jenna, got up to use the restroom, leaving her stool empty for just a few minutes. The place was packed. It always is. Bar stools were a hot commodity that night. But still, there's an unspoken rule in places like this. If someone's stuff is there or the seat was clearly part of someone's table, you don't touch it. Enter the walking cliché. Collared polo shirt, vape cloud trailing behind him like he's auditioning for a role in Obnoxious Stranger, the movie. Without even glancing our way, he snatches Jenna's stool and starts dragging it toward his group's table like he owns the joint. I leaned over and said, "Hey, someone's sitting there." He didn't even slow down, just shrugged and said, "Well, she's not here now, is she?" and kept walking. I felt heat rise to my face, not the flirty kind, the kind that makes your ears burn. But we didn't want drama. We let it slide. Jenna came back, saw her seat gone, and stood there awkwardly while we all tried to make space. And that guy didn't even look our way, didn't care. At that point, I felt a knot of something hard settle in my chest. Frustration, powerlessness. The sense that someone just steamrolled your night and didn't think twice. But I said nothing. I watched. I waited. 20 minutes later, Vape Bro and his barcada decide it's time for a smoke break. They all get up, laughing, stumbling toward the exit with that cocky bar swagger. That's when the universe whispered, "Now." I calmly walked over to their table, grabbed the stool he stole, and carried it back to ours. The satisfying screech of metal on concrete was music to my ears. I flagged down one of the servers, leaned in, and explained the situation quietly. She nodded, a small smirk playing on her lips. "Noted, ma'am." 10 minutes later, Vape Boy comes back and halts mid-step, staring at the empty space where his stolen throne used to be. His expression twisted like someone just told him his favorite crypto coin crashed. He stormed over. "That's mine." I didn't even blink, just sipped my beer, looked him in the eye and said, "Well, you're not sitting now, are you?" He glared. Oh, he glared like his eyes could set things on fire. Then he stomped to the bar staff like a kid running to mommy. "Excuse me," they took my seat. The same staff member he talked to earlier looked at him and with the most neutral face imaginable said, "Sorry, sir, no more extra seats. You can stand and wait for one to free up." He turned, looked at me, and then at his friends who were slowly coming back, confused and chairless. And then the cherry on top, the only spot he could find to stand all night was next to this oscillating electric fan that kept whipping his hair around like he was in some low-budget shampoo commercial. The girls and I, we didn't say a word. We just clinked our glasses and let the music swallow the moment. But inside, I felt that tiny ember of dignity glow again. Not because I'd humiliated someone, not because of petty revenge, but because I'd taken something back. My space, my power, my seat. That should have been the end of it, right? A small, sweet act of justice in a noisy little bar. But sometimes petty people don't let go. And this dude, oh, he wasn't done. Not even close. A week later, same spot, same crew. We liked the place. It had charm even if it came with the occasional ego-tripping vape lord. This time we came in a little earlier and claimed a cozy booth near the side wall. No stools involved. But guess who else decided to show up? Yup, Mr. Vape Cloud and his loud barcada. Except this time he saw us first. He didn't smile, didn't nod, didn't acknowledge the little showdown from last week. but I could feel his ego smoldering across the room like a lit fuse waiting to burn. The whole night, I felt his eyes flicking our way, watching, judging, looking for a moment to get even, maybe. His friends? They were mostly indifferent, caught up in their own braggy convos about crypto flips and gym routines. But he wanted something. Around 10 p.m., a server came over to our table. She was new, nervous, polite. "Hi, ma'am. Sorry to bother you, but one of the other guests says you might have taken their reservation." We blinked at her. "Reservation? This place doesn't even do reservations," I said, half laughing. She nodded awkwardly, clearly uncomfortable. "Yes, ma'am, I know, but they said they talked to the owner, and this table was promised to them earlier." We all turned to look, and there he was, leaning against the bar with the smuggest little grin, watching like a predator who thought he'd cornered a rabbit. My blood boiled, not because I feared losing the booth, but because of the pure, childish, manipulative pettiness of it. I waved the server closer and said quietly, "Look, we've been here over an hour. No one told us about a reservation, and we're not moving. If he has a real complaint, tell him to talk to us directly." She nodded and walked away. He didn't come over. Of course not. He just watched us like he was keeping score. But the owner never showed up, and eventually they shuffled to the bar corner, grumbling. That night when I got home, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was scared, because I was angry. Angry at how small, insecure men turn spaces into battlegrounds just to feed their ego. I wasn't looking for war, but if he wanted it, he'd get it. So I made a plan. I had a friend, Paolo, who worked as a photographer and part-time promoter for bars around the area. I called him up the next day. "Hey, you know that resto bar on Timog? The one with the high tables and no reservations?" He laughed. "Yeah, I do." "What happened?" I told him everything. He chuckled. "Damn, you want me to talk to the owner?" "Not just talk," I said. "I want to rent it out, just for a few hours Saturday night, and I want full seating control." He paused. "You're serious?" "I'm very serious." A couple of messages, a few calls, and one small payment later, Saturday night was ours, reserved legitimately. We arrived early, dressed sharp, not over the top, just confident. The kind of look that says, "I'm not here to fight, I'm here to own the room." Paolo was there too, taking a few casual promo shots for the bar's socials, adding legitimacy to the whole event. We occupied the best tables, the high ones, the stools, even the corner booth. We weren't blocking anyone, just happening to already be in every place they like to claim. Then right on cue, he walked in. Same polo shirt, same swagger, same vape cloud. But this time, he looked confused. He scanned the room, saw the setup, saw the signs that said reserved, private promo night, and then saw me, already seated, drink in hand, mid-laugh. He hesitated. His friend stood behind him, uncertain. He walked over. "What is this?" he asked, voice low. "Oh, hey," I said as casually as I could. "Didn't you hear? Promo night, private group, all tables are booked." He blinked. "You did this?" I shrugged, smiled. "You said you knew the owner. So do I now." He looked around. Every server was busy. The music was starting. The vibe was buzzing. And there was no seat, no corner for him to call his own. They left within 10 minutes. I didn't chase them out. I didn't need to. Sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't loud. It's presence. It's control. It's showing up and being unbothered in the very place someone tried to erase you from. We danced that night. Hard. We laughed till our sides hurt. And when the lights dimmed and the DJ turned it up, I knew I'd done more than just get even. I'd reminded myself who I was, and it felt damn good.